Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Hawaii Real. I have with me Kaipo Cabral.
Yes,
he's a
sir.
worker with
Spectrum Cable.
Spectrum Cable, and he's just not happy with some things with the bureaucracy and red tape that he has to go through with the Department of Planning and Permitting. So we wanted to come on the air and talk directly about that. I know a lot of you have that same problem, that same issue.
Yeah.
Jesus, like, you never hear the end of horror stories with the Department of Planning and Permitting.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, for me, I have a property in Poa and I'm trying to do a build on a budget. But it really seems like no matter what you try to do, they have so much rules that are made by whoever above that doesn't necessarily, seems like they don't take a step back and look at, okay, is this feasible? Has it been done before? Can we do it?
So what's your problem that you're having with them right now?
So like right now, I'm trying to do a container build. So I actually bought two shipping containers, 20 footers, 20 feet by 8. And my whole process with that was to put something there that I can pretty much build out myself. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of the resources to do so. But then when you go to them, they tell you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. My biggest gripe about that is there was a house there before. So why can't I just rebuild my house? Because if we went along the lines of the rules back then, my grandpa actually had a house in the front. He went ahead and built what they call an accessory unit or a ohana unit in the back. And he had it there for years. 2 homes on the property, 2 separate families living in there, my grandpa, and then his tenants in the back, which helped him with getting by with, how our, cost of living is and all that. Mm-hmm. When it got down to, him trying to redo the house that he had in the front, the termites and all that stuff, he knocked it down and he was going through the process of rebuilding. Unfortunately, he got sick and then he passed away. He actually died of all the things that come with having diabetes. Had to chop his leg off, everything. Jeez. He pushed through all that and his body just went, once that happened, the property kind of like hung in limbo for a long time. And at that point in time, me and my girl were like, okay, what are we going to do? We did a lot of things with our finances and we were in a pretty good place to actually try and pick it up. So I approached my family. I was like, hey, how's about we try and save our property, our family property? Mm-hmm. And we went in and they were like, yeah, go ahead. So we had to dig it out of foreclosure. Lucky thing, we had good friends with Everett and great guys. They helped us, almost took a year and a half maybe to dig it out of foreclosure. I just got pissed off with that too because the mainland always sells your mortgages to another person, but they don't send all the information about my grandpa passing away to the next bank and all that stuff, all the paperwork. So I had to deal with 5 different banks that didn't know who I was, wanted all the paperwork that I gave to the first bank. It was crazy. So once we got it into our hands, we're like, okay, what are we going to do with it? We didn't have a lot of money to actually build back then. So we kind of waited and saved up and whatnot. Now we're at that point where I feel like I can build this at least maybe like $60,000 on a budget and build something simple, not over the amount of square footage that the original house was. And someone could live there. Like I could live there, I could move in, I could rent it out to help me, with my finances or whatnot. But when it comes down to trying to do it, the DPP says, no, you can't do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. So they just don't have answers.
Yeah. What kind of things are you trying to do?
So
specifically, like that you apply for a permit for and they deny.
Well, I've tried to get a direct conversation with the acting director, Kathy Sokugawa. Nope, she kicks me to somebody else, and I've showed up multiple times in her office. I'm like, hey, has she looked at my letter? I've had this whole packet for her, and it's attention to her. Mm-hmm. Not attention to anybody else. It's attention to her. The decency is, hey, give me a call back, an email from you, let me know what's going on. Nothing. I'm always getting kicked to everybody else. So my biggest thing was, I just want to build something within a budget that I can put in the front side of my property where there was a house before. And you either live in it or move a tenant in. And they said, no, you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. Pretty much because they changed the rules. And I feel like, I don't know for sure, but I feel like when whoever made the rules for all these monster homes, which great, they made rules for monster homes because those things are just ridiculous. It kind of inadvertently like affected everybody with smaller properties.
Right.
They changed the rules for us, which was Ohana housing. So technically, if we went by the rules back then, my property right now is actually illegal, or I'm going to say non-conforming, but my Ohana unit in the back, or my grandpa's Ohana unit in the back, needs a primary house. The primary house was the front that got knocked down. And for some reason they're saying that, oh, okay, because we knocked the whole thing down, I can't build it again. They want me to build out the back house. So the back house they're claiming now is a primary. So that primary house, I have to spend more money, more than my budget, to extend that house forward and make it similar to like one of those big homes that everybody's building right now.
So they want you to make a monster home, but they say they don't want you to make a monster home.
Right. So
and you're not trying to make a monster home. You're trying to make two different.
Yeah, because I don't like, I mean, granted, apartments and all that, they do other things. People got to live in wherever they got to live. But in my personal opinion, I would rather like to build two separate homes that people have their own family spaces, parking, everything. When it comes down to it, it seems like they're forcing us to build something bigger, put myself more in financial ruins than, financial problems than just building something I can do for now. Let me get by with this. Then from there, okay, maybe then I can expand. But help myself by giving me an option at the least.
Yeah. It seems like from what I've heard about complaints from the DPP is that they don't give people options. They just tell them what they can't do and what you can't do and what you can't do. And it's like, well, what can I do then?
Yeah.
Like,
and then when you ask them that, they're like, I don't know.
That's not for us to decide. It's like, dude, you're telling me what I can't do.
Right.
You have to have an answer of what I can do.
Right. I approached somebody. I was like, hey, I told them, hey, can I come in and I want to build a off-the-grid home? What if I wanted to build an off-the-grid home or a tiny home?
Yeah.
Like one that's built on a trailer. I can pull up to the back to my property and no, the one on the trailer. I even talked to Kirk directly one day because he just happened to walk into Zippy's. So I go up to Kirk. I'm like, hey, Kirk, got a question for you. He's
Who's
like,
that? Kirk?
Kirk Caldwell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I guess he was doing something
Mayor.
in Waikiki or whatever. So he walks in, Kimberly pined them, and I was like, hey, Kirk, I got a quick question. He's all like, real or homeless? I'm like, none of the above, something else. And so I tried to get into a quick conversation with him. He's like, I know we have a lot of, problems and whatnot with the DPP. We're trying to do this, we're trying to do that, but still nothing,
It's like, dude, you're the mayor, you're the boss, man.
Yeah, like look into this, help us out. Because the way I look at it, the easiest way to look at, especially my situation, I look at it as the best thing that they could do is grandfather in. The way I look at it is, if something was there before, the property owner should be able to build the same thing within the square footage of what was there before. If they want to go larger, they have to knock the whole thing down and go larger. But if something was there before, they should at least have that as an option, because it's not like the plumbing got changed. And if anything, if it did get changed, it got better. Because why? You're not going to go backwards if you redo the street.
Not plumbing
the street
from like
work.
the 1930s.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you look into the rules as far as what you can do with the plumbing, you can have multiple homes. I mean, you can have, I think they call it like units. So units is like a sink, bathroom, kitchen, toilet, that kind of stuff. So as far as per home, you can have, or per property, you can have a certain amount of units. Now, I don't see the difference between having one house, like a 2-bedroom house, 1 bathroom, and like another 2-bedroom house, 1 bathroom on the same property, as opposed to what all these investors, these Chinese investors, Korean, Japanese, all these people that can build, have money to build a huge home that they call is a single family home, is not a single family home at all, because what they do is they go through the whole process, somebody signs off on everything, and then they close up all the doors. So now they have like 4 units. It's usually upstairs is the owners. They have like a 3-bedroom living space upstairs. In the back somewhere where you can't even see, they have like a 1-unit studio unit.
Yeah.
Downstairs, they'll have 2-bedroom units. And they all have stoves, kitchens, sinks, bathrooms.
Which you're not supposed to, right? It's like upstairs, downstairs. You
Right.
can have one kitchen or
1
two
kitchen
kitchens.
and a wet bar.
Now it's,
Right? 1 kitchen, wet bar. No. These guys have everything. On top of that, do they have parking for their property?
No.
Because they maximize the amount of space on their property.
That's one of my pet peeves too.
They maximize the spot on their property to give their home no parking. They maybe have 4 in the front. But
4 in the front is like generous.
Yeah.
'Cause they usually have like 2 in the front.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody else got to park on the street. And then you have like tons and hundreds of cars parked on the streets.
Right.
You know, I used to work in Kalihi and just driving around all the time over there. It's
Right.
just, there's a lot of cars parked on the street.
Yeah.
And then you see the house and there's like a 2-car garage. And it's like, dude, where do you expect all your people to park? And there's like, you know, multiple families living
Right.
in that place.
Yeah,
And
they
so
have
they
that
don't offer
2-car
parking.
garage in the front too, but then the 2-car garage houses nothing. Like it might be storage for the property.
Yeah, it's
And then-
not actually, there's no cars in there.
Yeah, you got the four slots in the front, the 4 parking
Yeah.
stalls in the front. So like to me, if they're gonna allow that, what's the difference of me having 2 separate homes on a property that I actually will make parking for those 2 homes? To me, that makes 100% perfect sense. But somebody in the DPP or whoever the powers may be, for some reason can't do that.
Nope.
Like they can't see the value in that. And then for me, when I look at it as trying to keep Hawaii, that's like the property I live on now too. Is I'm living on a kind of like old school plantation type home property, 14 houses, really old. My friend just sent me a picture. He was in I think 2040 Nuuanu, and there was like a picture of me on the front porch of one of the oldest homes on the property. And if any one of those houses were to burn down, earthquake happened or something and it knocked down, you wouldn't be able to rebuild that. You would have to conform to whatever the rules are with DPP now
Sure.
and not be able to do so.
Yeah.
But to me, that would be like preserving Hawaii. You know what I mean? That's the old school plantation homes. If you can still rebuild that, that would help out everybody out there.
Now, do you think there's people out there, and I actually know there's people out there that just aren't complying with their permits and they're just going off building without a permit at all?
Well, yes and no. So you have a lot of the investors that I already see, they try to do a lot first because DPP takes so damn long already to approve anything. It's like even the DPP, you have these people and those people and those people all on the same floor, but it's like they don't talk to each other. You got to go in and physically grab it from here and
Walk
go
it
to
over
this
there.
person and then go to that person and then go to this person and like, what? Like seriously, what?
That's government efficiency for you. Right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, exactly.
See, this is
100%.
why socialism doesn't work,
Yeah.
because you have problems like this where you have people that work there that just they're not going to get paid anymore for doing a good job. They're not going to get promoted.
Right.
You know, they're just going to come to work, going to get their steady paycheck, and then that's it. And they're not going to work hard, and they're not going to care,
Right.
because they have a secured job no matter what
Right.
they do until they retire.
Right. And then I did speak to one person actually 2 people in DPP that actually really helped. Auntie in the front, Marilyn, oh my God, she is like a huge asset to DPP. I mean, she's been there forever, but she is a huge asset. And forgot her first name, but Patkin was the last name because I remember her because she's actually related to a friend of ours. But man, she helped me turn my letter to Kathy into what she called it was DPP language. So what I thought was pretty clear and concise, a little bit of a story form, but showed where the property was, what happened with my grandpa, where we are now, what I want to build, What can I do? She said, no, you can't do it like that. You have to do it in DPP language. I'm like, why? They can't read? Like, what's wrong? Like, you can't, I have
Like,
pictures.
well, maybe they can't.
Yeah. I was like, I have everything here looked at, or spelled out pretty clearly for them. It's like, no, you got to do it in DPP form.
Sure.
So I took my 3-page letter with pictures and all that and examples, and I broke it down to how she said.
Mm-hmm.
I got a response like that from someone. But what was the response? No, you can't do it. You can't do it. No, you can't do that.
Like, why?
Like, why?
Why can't we do it? There's states like Texas doesn't have a whole lot of red tape in regards to building. And yeah, people just build.
Yeah.
And all those flip the houses kind of TV shows and stuff like that. They're in states that you can do all kinds of stuff like that. You see those flipping houses shows. It's like, how do you get permits to do all that?
Yeah.
It's like, if you're in Hawaii, you can't just do that.
Nope. And that's the part hard. And that's really hard because, like, say if I wanted to try to do this, right? I did a whole year and a half of research. I looked yurts. I looked at prefabbed homes. I looked at container homes. I looked at tiny homes, off the grid homes. And with off the grid homes, I was like, this is awesome. But they're like, oh, we don't know because we don't really have that here and this and that. I'm like, no, you do. There's mansions in Big Island that are 100% off the grid, up in the farmlands, 20 minutes from Hilo. I stayed in them. I know exactly it can happen.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys call them and say, hey, guys, in Big Island, help me out here because we have some owners that want to go totally off the grid. What can we do?
The counties are not on the same page.
No, they're not. They're not. And that's what kills me.
Yeah.
You telling me, no, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. No. Let's work on how we can do it. Like, I'm okay with us working together to find a common ground. Like, I'm not here to build a huge monster home. I don't want to do a 20,000 bedroom home with no parking for anybody. I want to do a nice style family home and do it in a different way than your normal construction.
All right. What do you love about Hawaii? Because you've grown up here, right?
Yep, born and raised between here and LA, but mostly here.
So what do you love about Hawaii?
I love mostly the people. I mean, the culture here is just by far second to none. I mean, maybe some of the other, Pacific Islands and whatnot, they kind of share that same type of vibe. Maybe some of the other islands, island type places, they share that aloha vibe. But that's what I love. But at the same time, with how things are going nowadays, it seems like we're losing touch of that. And I think that has
losing touch of what? Like the cultural aspect, or
more so the personal respect for one another.
So like the aloha.
Yeah, because of what's going on, and it's left, it's right. It's every single thing that comes together when you have like financial issues, government issues. People just either jealous or whatnot of other people. It's totally different than what it was before, where everyone's trying to help everybody.
Yeah.
Nowadays I'm seeing a whole lot of fights and beefs and thefts and burglaries. I mean, you're HPD, right? So
yeah, but I think
all that.
I mean, aside from the spike in those thefts and robberies and stuff like that, that I think is being done by a core group of young men. Core group of guys.
Right.
It's not like the island or the state as a whole is becoming more quote unquote criminal.
Right.
It's a core group of guys that are doing it, and they need to be caught, and they need to be cut out of our society and put back in the jail and taught a lesson and stuff like that. But I think our society as a whole here in Hawaii is still quite nice compared to the rest of the country.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I go to the mainland, and I still down here, I can actually just spark up a conversation with somebody, say hello, smile, and everything like that. You go to the mainland, they're like, why is this person smiling at me?
Well, they look at you and they're probably like, why is he speaking English?
I know. shouldn't he be speaking Mexican, like Spanish right now? Like, why is this Mexican talking to me?
That's another thing that I personally love about Hawaii when you bring up that you love the people. I love that we have such a diverse culture with all the different ethnicities and stuff like that. And he can make jokes about different ethnicities and stuff, and it's okay here in Hawaii. Whereas, some places in the mainland where you just can't make those jokes anymore.
Right,
People get offended and they get really mad, and you start fights and stuff. And it's just like, come on, guys.
Like I was always taught to, try to enjoy yourself the best way possible. And if you can't laugh at yourself, don't laugh at anybody else. You know what I mean? But for me, I make sure I make myself look as stupid as possible when I'm making fun of other people too, so that way they understand, like, hey, dude, I'm on the same level as you. I'm equally, messing with everybody, including myself. You know what I mean? I'm just as open to being, harassed and whatnot, for a good laugh. Like I'm totally down for that. Yeah. I think laughter is something that we need more of. I love all the comedians that come through, like Joe Coy just recently. Man, my face was just so sore.
He's hilarious.
Thing. Oh my God, Joe Coy, you're awesome, man. But yeah, I mean, just the people, you go around to all different families. I mean, it's always, they take you in under their wing, and it's like, yeah, this person. And that's one thing with my job too, is, we go into everybody's homes. And my most important thing when I go into people's homes and I, take care of all their cabling and all that kind of stuff, is not necessarily looking at, okay, their issue, or sometimes they're mad at the company or whatever. And, I'm there to help let them vent. My biggest thing is when I leave that house, I want them to be so comfortable with me being in their home to the point where they'll invite me for dinner or parties or their kids' birthdays or, anything, only because you try to establish that type of relationship. You establish that type of relationship with your customers, man, it comes back to you tenfold.
So you're not just trying to go there and do a job.
Exactly. Yeah. You're trying to make it like a friend came to visit you, and just so happened you had an issue that he could help with.
Nice.
Or he or she could help with.
Yeah, and you've been to my house helping me out personally with the cable and stuff.
Yeah. We go everywhere. And our field guys, I mean, shout out to all the blue collar, white collar dispatchers, everybody out there. We all do a great job as far as locally. I mean, we do have a new management and whatnot, and there's all kinds of issues that come with change. Change is hard. A lot of people don't like change. Nobody really likes change, but if you can figure out where the silver lining is, and not let things kind of like ruin your day, I think you can get by and be just fine.
So what kind of things, since you work for Spectrum and you work for a digital media company, what are the kinds of things that are coming up in the future that you've seen from the professional side? We're still, because we're basically in a realm right now where we're dealing with cable and Wi-Fi in our homes. Is that going to grow? Is that going to change? What do you think, or what do you see with that?
I've been kind of trying to keep abreast of everything on the tech side, but I really feel that there's going to be a huge transition. I mean, it's already started with the streaming and cord cutting. And I called this out like 10 years ago when the first Android boxes, and when I started to go into, Chinese families' homes and Indian family homes where they had all these little boxes that could get live TV from their countries, and all they needed was internet service. So once I saw that, I'm like, ooh, man, companies got to start stepping it up. All these internet providers, TV providers, they got to step it up because they're already beat in that sense. When you look at the field as far as what's coming up, I mean, even if you look at what Disney, Marvel, all them, they're all under one roof now. They're trying to expand within their own system where they don't necessarily need a cable company or anything. Right. They just need the internet. So like for my job, I look at my job kind of slowly deteriorating because eventually you'll only need really one box in your home, and that's an internet modem. Once you have that, you're done. Everything else comes with that. You just need the correct bandwidth for what you're using it for, or all your devices and all that.
What about you heard about 5G coming out? So what happens when 5G is all over the place? Do we still need cable companies?
I feel like you will need it. I think it's going to be more like the phones, right? You don't necessarily need phone, landline phones, should I say?
Right.
They're still around. I think it's just more of a generational thing. Our older generation are so used to using a landline phone. So as the generations kind of move on, 5G will come around. By the time 5G actually gets around, I'm sure there's going to be like a 6 or an 8G or something like that that comes out better. But all the reviews and stuff that I've seen with the 5G, it's still not there yet.
Yeah, it's still not there yet.
Yeah.
But 5 years from now, and because tech is increasingly speeding up and
Yeah.
getting better faster.
Right.
In about 5 years or so. So what I'm thinking is that 5G is going to be all over the place. They have to have sensors or not sensors, but
The Wi-Fi towers.
yeah, those towers, like every 100 feet or 100 yards. I forget what it is, but it's close. It's not like 4G where you have towers every few miles. It's going to be every 100 yards at least,
Something
which
like
is
that,
really close, right? So in a neighborhood, if you have those all over the place and they're pushing, basically service or internet connection that is far faster than the current cable and current 4G LTE. If they're pushing that into the houses, why do the homes need to be wired to a cable company at all?
Right. And that would be the question later when it actually comes out. But right now, as far as the answer for that is, once you're connected hardline, that is the cleanest connection that you can have. Once you go wireless, there's so much different wireless interferences that could mess you up. And a lot of people don't understand that, but we have to actually explain that, because it could be you live in a fully cemented home, steel home, a house with a lot of tile, mirrors, that kind of stuff.
So what I've heard is that's the big flaw of 5G is that it can't penetrate buildings, walls and stuff like that.
It can penetrate to a certain point, but if you think about it,
it's not like 4G.
If your closest, pole that has a 5G system is 100 feet away and you live in a cement apartment, good luck, right? Good luck. Like you have to have like an open window that you can eyeball see where that's coming from, and you might even have to stay on the balcony or your lanai and be like, okay, I'm in there. But then say if somebody wants to game, like that's a whole big thing right now is gaming. You gotta be hardline for that. I mean, we're in Hawaii too. We're so far from the mainland that all the servers and everything are up there. So even though we are very fast as far as our services with Spectrum, there's still a point of lag because we're so far, right? There's still that little, as opposed to being in LA and then the servers being in LA.
So the 5G, what I've been reading is that it's the latency currently with like the fastest hard lines. I think the latency was like 50 milliseconds or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really small. It's really short, right? With 5G, it's going to be like 1 millisecond.
That's what they're saying. I haven't seen it yet.
But that's like real time. They're saying that that's like real time, like me and you talking right here. And this could be taking place as a hologram.
Right.
And you could be on you could be on the East Coast.
Right.
And I could be in Hawaii and we could be having this conversation just like this.
Right. And that's what I really want to see. Like that would be really interesting to see, because right now with the 5G poles that are up, I've seen guys just walk a block away and their speeds go down from, I think he clocked at like 800 at one point or something, and then he
megabytes or gigabytes?
Megs down, and then he walked away and he was like at 50 or something. It was something ridiculously low. He was just one block away from that tower.
Because those wavelengths don't go very far.
Right, right. Just like your regular Wi-Fi in the home.
Yeah, so they're going to be all over the place, and they're coming because the governor signed it in to where they're going to allow all the construction of those 5G towers and stuff like that to go all over the place. Yeah. They're supposed to be smaller than 4G LTE towers, so they're supposed to, like the size of, I don't know, a case of beer.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because like even with us, we have all our, we call it the ruckus systems, right? For Spectrum. I mean, we have those all over your neighborhood parks, shopping malls, businesses, that kind of stuff. We have connection for our customers all over the place. And that I would think would be kind of like our segue into 5G. Like if we have a system right there, I would assume on the business end, it'd be like, okay, that's our into being in those areas. Yeah. Okay, now can we put a 5G system right now? Yeah. As opposed to having to build new towers here, there, wherever. That on the business aspect, kind of look at different angles. But really depends on who's going to actually pay for all those towers, where they're going to be built.
Yeah, all these cell companies are going to be paying for it. You know, they're investing. I know T-Mobile's investing a lot into it, Verizon and AT&T and Sprint.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's coming. It's almost like, do we remember all of the 4G towers going up?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't.
No.
We just have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we all have smartphones now. And it's like, do we remember 15 years ago all this stuff happening?
Mm-hmm. No.
I mean, we do. I do remember like people complaining and calling out like, "Oh, this is going to give you cancer, and you shouldn't be talking on your phone, and you're going to get brain cancer and stuff like that if you have it to your head too much." Right. And look at us now; we're using hands-free devices.
Yeah.
You know, so we don't even like who talks to their phone to their head that often.
Yeah.
Like hardly ever.
Yeah.
It's a lot of texting. It's a lot of social media and stuff like that. But
even with that, like I actually was watching like a special, and I only because I wanted to educate myself a lot more. When people were saying, all that whole cancer stuff, trying to do as much research as possible. I mean, I haven't seen anything that was like, can pinpoint, yes, you're getting it from this, or yes, you're getting it from that. There are coincidences that some things happen here and there. But the one thing that was super interesting is hypersensitivity. Never heard it before. But supposedly it's a thing, and you can be diagnosed with it, to where people can feel your microwaves, your cell phones, your Bluetooths.
Oh, all the frequencies,
all
and
the
vibes.
different frequencies that are out there. People are hypersensitive, and that's a thing.
That's a thing.
So those people actually have to seclude themselves away from your normal neighborhoods and towns, because
wear tinfoil hats.
Yeah, I thought, it kind of seemed that way, but instead of looking weird and whatnot, doing all that, they just rather say the hell with everything, go live in the woods. So they have like in the mainland, they have different areas in the woods where these people are just straight cut off from everything tech, pretty much, where they cannot feel these things because it gives them ridiculous migraine headaches. They throw up, they have convulsions, all kinds of stuff. I'm like, damn, I that was just shocking. I couldn't see myself showing up to a customer's home and they're telling us that. And I'm like, okay, maybe you need to get away from civilization in general, right?
Like, take some aluminum foil and wrap it around your head.
You'd be surprised. We have people throwing up foil on their windows.
I believe it.
All over the place. But there are some that are really, really in tune with that type of health, and some of them kind of go a little far with it. And I tell them, well, really, if you haven't been diagnosed with hypersensitivity, I would say look into it, because if you are, then you're going to constantly be affected by this. But then our customers, obviously, we go back to that house and they're still the same and whatnot. So it's like, okay, I tried to help you out. What can we do? Go get some help.
Yeah, those people, they got to understand, like, that's radio waves and, microwaves, and that's how the television airs throughout. I mean, it's all frequencies, vibrations, and stuff like that. It's just different, So if you have that kind of hypersensitivity, it's like, well, do you have that with radio?
Yeah. Or in TV. Do you watch TV all day? Yeah. Okay. So does that not give you a headache? No. Okay. I'm pretty sure you're not hypersensitive. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But tech is awesome. I mean, tech will always be around. But it's always interesting to see, because it seems like every 6 months, whatever you bought 6 months from now is you're too old now.
No, don't say that.
You're too old now.
I can't afford laptops every 6 months, man.
Well, that's why you gotta get a very, very good one. I mean, I like Apple. I mean, Apple's awesome. Some of the newer PCs are good. Alienware is top gaming. I mean, those guys are bad. But for me as a regular user, I mean, I usually use Apples for computers and all that. Phones though, Android.
Oh, so you use a Mac computer, but then Android phone.
Yep.
See?
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about.
Macs are awesome computer-wise, but I mean, the Android phones, I mean, I'm buying a $1,000 phone. I'm going to make sure I can use that phone to the fullest. I don't want to be told what I can or cannot do.
So you're an ordained minister. Right?
Yes.
But you do more than that when you do parties and weddings and stuff, right?
Not too much. I leave it there to do more.
How did you get involved in that?
Oh man, it's actually a pretty funny story. So we have my other half has, you know, a best friend, and she hooked up with her now husband. But you know, we were going through the planning process of, you know, just being support, you know, thinking that, okay, whatever we need help with the wedding, you know, we'll go ahead and do. And then we had a dinner at a friend's house, and I was asking them like, hey, so who are you guys gonna have marry you guys? And they both are like looking at each other and like laughing. And I'm like, hey, what's the joke, guys? Like, I didn't make a funny or anything like that. It's like, oh no, we were just talking about this last night, and we thought that you'd be awesome at marrying us. I'm like, you guys really are crazy. Because now, you know, because
Where did they get that from?
I think he was just doing some stuff online, and you know, just knowing me for so long, and they were just like, I think it would be awesome if you married us. I'm like, you guys really are crazy. Because like their relationship was pretty damn quick for, you know, all of us. They hooked up, they like bought a house, had 2 kids, bought a brand new car. Like it was just so fast within like a couple years. Like we're just like, damn, you guys are nuts. And then, oh, we're getting married, you know, on top of that. I'm like, oh, wow, great couple, great, awesome, you know, family they have. The little boys are awesome. But yeah, they did that, and I was like, you guys are really, really crazy now, like super crazy. Because I actually asked them because I knew of an ordained minister that could do that could marry them, and then they're like, no, you know, we had that conversation. Go back to work, and it's kind of bored, so I started looking it up and trying to see what did you actually have to do. So maybe like an hour, half an hour later, I'm getting a couple emails back and forth between a ministry and then the state, and then I get these printouts saying that I'm certified to marry people. I'm like,
So you get that in one day?
yeah. Well, actually sent it through and then emailed back like the next day or something, or a couple of days later, sent it into the state sent it back a couple of days later, and was like, okay, you got your own number, certification, everything.
Nice.
You're online. I'm like,
Here we go.
Is this for real or what? Like, you know, so go ahead and we have our next meeting right for the wedding. And I think we were at 99 Ranch, and we were sitting down, everybody's eating, whatnot. And I brought my folder and all my papers. Then I kind of just like stood up, like dropped it in the middle of the table, because it was a circle table, dropped it in the middle, and I kind of walked away. And then they're like, what is this? So they started looking through it. And then they're like, is this for real or what? I was like, I don't know.
He's like, wait, we were joking. He's like, well, I wasn't.
Well, I mean, they were like, no, they were actually more surprised. Like, oh, is this for real? Because that'd be awesome. Like, is this? I was like, I don't know. We'll go ahead, go through it and try it. And then if you guys get a license at the end of it, hey, great. You know, then it works. So sure enough, we went through the whole process. And for me, I like to, because it was my first one, you know, it was like, oh my God, I got to make sure, you know, I do everything right. Try to do all my research. And it was funny because I made so much people laugh that day. It was hilarious. Like, so my friend's husband, Nick, you know, he was a very big Instagram like poster. And like for me, I wasn't a social media guy or anything like that, but he would post every single little thing that they're doing. And I'm like, you know, that's a new thing now, whatever. But I kind of flipped it on him on his wedding day. So I go, okay, you know, I introduced myself, this and that. But first, at that time, there was that whole song, like, let me take a selfie, right? That was a song at the time. So I told him, okay, wait, first, let me take a selfie. So I pulled out my phone and I turned it to everybody, and I turned back and I told him, photobombing is encouraged, so everybody get in. So I turned around, sure enough, bridegrooms, everybody come up. Everybody in the back is like shocked and laughing at the same time. Snap a picture. You see me on my phone real quick. Boom, post it out. Reason is because I explained to them, I was like, oh, well, you know, everybody knows that, you know, Nick likes to post everything on Instagram. So I just wanted to make sure I got his special day first before he did. So it was great. You know, it was a good experience. And then from that one, I was at work one day, a coworker of mine, she comes up, she's like, Kaipo, is this you? I was like, oh my God. Like, I guess because he knows so much people, his Instagram and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah. Then the word went out, and I eventually ended up doing like 5 more. And I was like, oh, you know, this could be a thing.
Yeah.
You know? And still to this day, like I don't mind doing it. You know, I think it's cool. It's something different. You know, I like to be involved with the bride and groom as much as possible. Like I give them a questionnaire to try and help me formulate the whole, you know, from start to finish. But I do wanna try this one day where I marry the couple and then I serve them drinks because I'm also a bartender.
Nice.
So your ordained minister is now getting you drunk. Yes. On your wedding day. Thank you.
How long were you a bartender for?
I think about 8 or 9 years.
Can you flip the drinks behind your back
I
like
love
cocktail?
that. Flair bartending.
Yeah,
Oh man,
yeah.
that's like a drug to me.
So you can do the ordained ministry, you can marry the couple, and then at their reception, you can start doing the
Flipping
cocktail.
bottles, flipping bottles, bouncing on
little
my
Tom
hand.
Cruise
Yep,
action
Tom Cruise,
going on,
everything.
yeah.
I got that all down. I mean, I'm not the best at it or anything, but I was hooked on it for a good, like, I would say a good year. Like watching videos from Rodrigo Dept, his brother, all the Flair bartending contests. The one thing I didn't get into because I don't think I can memorize all the damn ingredients is craft cocktailing. Because that is that's an art in itself.
Yeah.
You have to dedicate your whole entire life to try and figure out
But at a wedding, you're just kind of just throwing stuff together.
exactly. So what I like to do is like if I was to do that or be the bartender, because I was both, right? At one point I was either marrying it or I got hired to actually bartend the wedding. So if I'm bartending the wedding, then I'll, you know, definitely work with the bride and groom and be like, hey, do you guys want like a special cocktail? Is there something that you guys want together? And then we put down a good list for everyone to choose from, and then that's their like special drink for, you know, all their families and all that. I think it's super cool. It's good fun.
That's a great blend, man.
Yeah. Try to do, like I said.
You can totally make a side business out of that.
Oh yeah. I mean, could totally do everything I think in-house too. Like
What would you call it?
I don't know. If I partnered with somebody, I know one person that could do the entertainment, because he has photography, he has sound system, he has everything. But it'll have to be like, you know, a collaboration between us to try and figure out a name. But I think that would be super fun to just do weddings and continue on
And bartend.
parties, yeah.
And then
I still do parties.
would you MC it too?
You know, I've emceed one. I haven't. I think I did okay, but it was a kid's party. But I don't think I did it the fullest like I could do.
Probably because it was a kid's party. You weren't getting drunk.
Yeah, well, I was drinking actually that day.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, there's lots of alcohol there. But I think it was because it was my first time technically on the mic. Like I did do some things here and there, but I think I would have been a little bit more open and outgoing if I knew more of the families and all that kind of stuff. I was there for, you know, people we knew, but I didn't know how involved or how much joking I could do or who I could joke with or whatnot. So I kind of let the party kind of hang. I just kind of introduced like the next band and whatnot and tried to do like games here and there. But yeah, I mean, that'd be something cool to get into.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
Just like being social media, you know,
Yeah.
trying to get out there, be an actor.
Actor. Do you want to do acting?
You know, that's kind of like a dream job, I would say, that
Yeah.
I had. Never gotten into, never went into any kind of like sign up for SAG or anything like that. Have a lot of family in you know, the production side, like the lighting, the
You should try hit up like Hawaii 5.0 and Magnum PI that are down here now.
yeah, I mean, I looked into those, but the hardest part is that when you get into it, from what I know, a lot of times you gotta, unless you're actually picked for the casting, you're most likely going to be an extra.
Sure.
And you
That's
know,
where you start.
yeah, but I don't got time for extras. You know what I mean? I can't spend all day long or all night long
Well,
being an extra.
lucky for you, there's this thing called YouTube.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly.
You just
right?
be your own
Yeah.
actor.
And that's the thing, you know, try to figure out what angle to go down.
Yeah.
But I would like to be in the limelight. I mean, I like being in the limelight. It's cool.
I think that's a feature of like acting, and even with when I look at like acting schools and stuff like that, I think there's to some extent there's still going to be a place for those kind of things, but you have people that have zero acting education that are going on YouTube and making a living
Yep.
and making a lot of money, sometimes more money than actual actors
Yes.
that are trying to get on television shows or movies or stuff like that. And it's like, guys, your platform is right there in front of you. It's in your
Right.
phone. Like, you can just do it.
Right.
Like, show your stuff.
Figuring out the creativity part and trying to put it all together. I think that's the hardest.
Or link up with someone who is
Yeah.
creative and be
Yeah.
their actor. Or, you know, there's so much to it that is available for people to do right now.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to school to learn this stuff.
Yes.
And wait to get like get an agent and wait to get hired and stuff like that. It's like,
You pay like thousands of dollars for agencies too. I
Yeah.
mean, back in the day, yeah, I can understand, but nowadays, no. Man, when you go to all these agencies and they want like $2,000 a month and something to get headshots and to push you to all the different. I mean,
it's like,
come
well,
on.
here's my YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this
Here,
is my
You
work.
want to see me? Here you go.
And I did it all for free on
Yep.
my own, but I dime or whatever, you know. So, and it's also like getting people who maybe never would have acted before
Right.
on camera, on, you know,
Yeah,
in the
like this.
limelight for themselves. Yeah,
this.
it's like this.
I
It's
mean,
like, yeah, I don't
I've
act.
been on camera, I think, for a commercial twice. I mean, the most recent was Oceanic, and then eventually switched over to Spectrum. And then way before that, my first one I ever did was for 2020 Auto Detailing back in the day.
Okay.
And this is back in Pro City when they used to be on the corner. You know, it's funny because when we went on camera and we did it, my first shot, nailed it. Nailed it. Was the camera on?
No.
No.
Oh, shit.
So
That's why I have 3 cameras.
yeah, and so I
Just in case.
when we went back to it, then it became cut, try again. Oh, cut, try again. I stuttered on something, or it didn't flow well.
Oh, it wasn't perfect anymore?
Yeah, but until it took like maybe like 9 shots, and then I was like, okay, I got it, you know. But it was pretty cool, interesting. And then I had the opportunity to do the Spectrum one, and that one was pretty cool. I didn't think that they were gonna play it as much as they are playing it.
Oh, yeah.
Like it kind of makes me feel like, okay, I can do this. You know, I can be an actor. I can be a commercial person or something. But it's pretty cool when you go around and you know, people are actually like, hey, you that guy, yeah?
You're the Spectrum
Hey,
guy.
you that guy, yeah? You that guy on the commercial, right? I was like,
Funny story with that.
No.
We went to a birthday party for a friend, and it was at this house at Black Point. And I saw the guy whose house it was, the host. They were hosting it. They were hosting the birthday party for one of their friend, who was a common friend of ours, and everybody was invited to their house. And I saw this guy. I was like, "Hey, the guy looks really familiar. Like, is he a pro surfer?" And I had to ask like my wife, and I asked the friend that we were going there for the birthday party for, and she's like, "What? No, he's not a surfer." It's like, where would you get that from? I was like, I don't know. I've seen that guy's face, and I'm pretty sure I've seen him on a surfboard in the ocean, like on TV.
Yeah.
So what? Turns out he was in one of those insurance commercials
Oh,
because he
okay.
had his shoulder fixed or something like that, and he was paddling.
Oh, right.
That was that dude.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
I know where you're from.
So I thought he was like a surfer guy.
Right.
I mean, well, no, he just surfs and had shoulder surgery, and so they put him on a commercial.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, my excuse is always, you know, when people ask me that, I try to deflect it as much as possible. I'm like, no, that guy's he's an actor, that guy. He's an actor. He wouldn't be working, you know, a normal job. Like,
It's like, no, I actually work for Spectrum.
yeah. And then, you know, they were like, oh my God, I've had customers like want to take pictures with me, you know, tell their kids to take pictures with me because they think like, you know, because you're on TV, they think of you as a celebrity. I'm like, I'm no celebrity. I'm just a Joe Schmo, you know. I just was, you know, lucked out on being on a commercial, and I like doing it. And unfortunately, they play it a lot for you guys to see my face every day.
Yay.
I mean,
Well,
cool. It's cool. It's a blessing, I think.
Maybe you should pursue that, man.
Yeah, thinking about it. I'm gonna try. Try to definitely go into it one day. Figure it out.
Figure it
Have
out.
to figure it out.
That's like a Canadian saying.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
Figure it out. Make sure you get that out in there. Yeah, it's funny because Jamie didn't even know that, huh? Jamie didn't really notice his out with his.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think hockey players notice it when they're saying it, but
Yeah.
everybody else notices it.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait to. Speaking of shoulder surgery, I can't wait to get back because I just had my surgery. Yeah, Dr. Khan, man, he just went in and whipped everything back into shape, and I'm about 90-ish%, I think, right now.
Nice. Yeah, because we haven't seen you out there in a long time.
Yeah. And it's been hurting like the whole time. It's like, man, hockey season, you know, what am I doing? And then all this rain, you can't train outside, you know, you just got to practice with the hands. But man, I can't wait. But supposedly the season starts this month, end of this month.
The end of this month. So we'll be up and running.
Yes.
Fellow hockey players.
Yes,
Hockey is
sir.
big out here in Hawaii.
Yes.
It's not really
Hockey's
big. I'm just kidding.
Sport in the world. Best sport in the world.
My kids are doing lacrosse, man. That's a close second.
Yep, I'll get my daughter in there. I mean,
like
I played it. I mean, I love it. It's very similar to hockey. Very, very similar to hockey.
Similar to hockey, similar to basketball, similar to soccer in some ways. So it's got a lot of ties to a lot of different sports. So it's great.
Yep, very physical, very fast, team oriented. That's the biggest thing. You learn discipline that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Hey. Cool, man. Thank you for having me on here, man.
It's been great.
Yes.
And we'll have to have you on again to rant about more stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I got lots to talk about. I'm your natural Portuguese.
Are you Portuguese?
Yes, I am the Caucasian, local Caucasian they call Portuguese.
I wouldn't call you Caucasian at all.
Yeah.
This is Caucasian. This is what a Caucasian.
Let me lift up my...
Except I have black hair.
Let me lift up my pants a little higher.
Oh, you just have a good tan. That's all. Okay.
The tan lines. Lots of tan lines.
All right, everybody.
All righty.
Stay happy, Hawaii.
Okay, take it easy.